everyone. Welcome to the second episode of Tacoma.
So transfer shafts. These are the thing you either just went in or are about to, which takes you from the hub to a wing, and it's kind of internal studio speak for the process the player is going through, the player character, where they grab onto a little sled inside of this long arm that goes from the hub all the way to the wing, and it takes them down there, drops them off, and it safely conveys them from 0G to gravity or the reverse.
And if you're going along the transfer shaft and thinking, "My, this is taking a long time," it's because we're loading stuff in the background.
Yeah.
Yes, and for that reason, it's actually the only part of the station. The 3 transfer shafts are actually the only parts of the station that are always loaded the whole time that you play. Another detail I really like is the way the boots light up whenever they magnetize, which you also see in the entryway. It was something that it took me a while to realize that was what was going on, but that's the kind of deep thinking about how things work that I really appreciate in the station overall. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. There's no way that you can... Oh, wow. There's no way that you can go through, like, an elevator, a shaft, like a door taking a while to open, that you're not like, it's loading. It's a loading screen. It's loading. You know? It can be immersion breaking, but I appreciate that honesty. There's definitely something there. Just gonna transfer now.
They're like his little coded communiques.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People have tweeted like screenshots at us and called out these messages that kind of break into the player's AR interface sometimes, that are things like it should be saying AR crew member record recovered, but then it says something like death sentence suddenly,
Which
and
is a
then
surprise to some people.
goes away again. Odin doesn't know what Amy's motives are. Like, as far as he knows, she's really there to take him back to Venturis and for him to be wiped. And so we wanted him to be trying to communicate with her and say, like, no, don't do this. And so for a while, I think we talked about, like, are we going to do this through
I see.
audio that cuts in or like some new
Real hand.
interface thing that you see in different places? And then we had that realization that there are these kind of system messages, like when you're transferring into a wing or when you're recovering an AR scene, that he could subvert those via text that Amy's already seeing and just change what the meaning is, even if it's briefly. So yeah, I don't know how many people really are like conscious of these or how many make the connection, but I think hopefully by the end of the game you have that feeling, that this was Odin all along.
Yeah, and there's a whole progression. You can see his feelings about Amy change as time goes on.
That's true.
Yeah.
It starts out him seeming kind of scared or panicking, and then I think by the end of the game he's starting to almost give her the benefit of the doubt or say, like, I don't have any choice but to trust you, basically.
It seems like he's starting to have a little bit of hope at the end, I think. But
Yeah.
Never noticed. Or at least haven't noticed yet. Team growth. Chicken. I'm gonna say that this is fish.
1, 2, 3.
That meat. It even sounded bad like that meat.
That's because it is bad.
Ugh.
I mean, it's also good.
It's very good.
I mean,
Powerfully bad.
obviously.
The way we were looking at it was, if you're on this long posting, then like fresh food would be one of the most desirable things that you could have. And so they have the tomatoes and the squash and the mushrooms, and then also in our fiction, what we speculate is that the vast majority of all meat that would be eaten on Earth is produced in a lab, not in a factory farm, because that's become much more efficient than producing animals. And so also they can use that process on the space station, so they
Yeah.
can produce meat protein right on site and turn it into whatever meals they want.
Why not? Why not vat meat?
They also make terrible noises. Whenever you go near these
Yeah.
things, they do a lot of squooshing and squanching.
Thanks to Patrick.
Which, thank you, Patrick, for making our vat meat grosser than necessary.
Oh, it's necessary.
Exactly as gross as necessary.
Precisely. Vat meat.
It's good.
Sure it is.
Dear Lord.
Sarah's panic attack also came late in the development of the game. I think it was actually the last like AR scene that got written. Botany had originally been a much shorter sequence, and we wanted to expand it to include more characterization between Evie and Clive in the tea garden, and to give Andrew more time with Odin to kind of talk through how he was really feeling after he and Sarah split off.
So commensurately.
Right, that left
That
this
left us with
space
time, yeah.
where we knew that we wanted Sarah to meet up with Evie and Clive at the end of the scene, so she couldn't just leave, but she had to go do something. And that led us to say, what's she doing in this time gap? And Sarah has, I think, a lot of she takes on a lot of that responsibility of having suppressed her own outward emotion to be taking care of the crew. She's the doctor, but also she's trying to like hold this plan together, and she has people confiding in her that she's kind of holding all these things inside. And we wanted to have this moment where it's just her and Odin, and her being able to actually like externalize how hard this is for her, and have Odin help her through that in this way that shows this isn't the first time that this happened. They have this kind of familiar ritual that they go through when Sarah needs help.
Yeah, I think that like personal emotional displays like this just feel a lot more engaging to us than, for example, the characters screaming at each other because they've lost patience and stuff like that. I think
Right.
that there's something about seeing what happens to a person when they're by themselves under stress, or I suppose with an AI.
Yeah.
But there's something there that is it just feels like it rings true.
I would be the one panicking for sure. Welcome. Corporate Day of Mourning. The Tibetan Genocide of 2052. My family and thousands of others were indelibly sundered in this horrific ethnic cleansing attempt. My parents and I escaped Tibet as refugees. My grandmother, like so many others, was not so lucky. Her memory spurs me to make this request once more. Days of memorial like this one are crucial to ensuring that the memory of the people, traditions lost in this terrible event. 0281. Let me write that, because my memory sucks. 0281. Yeah. Okay. Really cool. Like really, really cool. True spells. Andrew. Message confirms completion of your request. Currency conversion. Loyalty is being removed from your account. The value. And apply to your Venturous Belt Employee Investment Plan pre-registration fee. We're now the proud owner of Orbital Bungalow 0182 in the Venturous Belt. And facilities become operational later in 2088. You will make money every time a passenger rents out your Orbital Bungalow. Congratulations on this wise investment and welcome to Venturous family. Hold on, I think I got a message. I just need to make sure it's not something important. Yeah, everything's okay. Sorry about that. Huh. Hi everyone. My orchids have been growing gloriously in botany this winter, and they're ready to be propagated. If anyone would like a small orchid plant to brighten up their bone, let me know. They do take a bit of care, but I'm happy to include instructions and answer any questions. Please write back if you like one. Aww. That is probably a grandma.
We were really grateful to have
grandma.
some friends in the industry and artists that we know contribute some cool pieces of art to the game. For instance, the pinup poster in Bert's locker in the locker room was by Mariel Cartwright, who was the lead animator on Skullgirls and is the art director of the game Indivisible. And then very nearby to that, there's the cover of the Zero Spiel
yes.
ebook on Sarah's desktop, which is like a multi-layered reference because in Firewatch they were kind enough to put one of the books from Gone Home findable in their game. Ollie Moss, who was Firewatch's art director and did the book covers for the 1 through 10 books for that game, did a really cool kind of visual pun roulette wheel space station book cover for Zero Spiel in Tacoma. Also, some of us did drawings for the game.
Our programmer Hannah did programmer art for Nat. She ghost drew Nat's doodles.
Right.
And
drew those very good Tyrannosauruses. Yep. And in Nat's office, you can find a bunch of post-it notes on her desk that are just different little doodles of Odin. And we actually assigned Hannah to just draw doodles of Odin over the course of a few months while she was at her desk waiting for builds to finish or whatever. And then one day she just handed us a bunch of sticky notes and was like, here they are. And now they're on Nat's desk. Carla did all of Andrew's drawings.
Yes.
So his sketches from life of flowers and
his orchids
statues and stuff.
And stuff like that. And also Nicholas's doofy drawing of Andrew floating in space and yelling at him about homework.
Right. And
which was very
then
important.
I did Bert's drawing of Nat that you find next to Bert's workstation. So yeah, we have this thing where we have different individual people play different characters through their handwriting, and sometimes we have them play different characters through their drawings.
Oh dear lord. Like, really cool. Incredibly cool.
All right, what do you say, folks? Yay or nay?
Obviously, we're on board.
I'm in.
Me too.
Okay.
All right. Well, we non-essential personnel need to figure out how to do everything we can to set this mission up for success, then get the hell out of your way as quickly as possible. Time is oxygen, people. Break.
What do you mean? Urgent. Main botany already get here. Senate practices don't use cryo for any longer than absolutely necessary. That's not what I asked. Right, sorry. 72 hours without serious risk of brain damage. Past that and you're really pushing it. How much oxygen? I mean, hardly any at all. Wait, where are you going with this? Uh-huh. But Bert says she could do her part in the time we have if she doesn't sleep, and you now need to write up a serious layer of interpreted code for us to pilot it from the inside, but it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be tight. And if you had more than 48 hours to work with, every little bit would help. Okay, hold on, checking something. Okay, so she wants more, and then 72. But what if we weren't sending it down to get supplies? What if we were sending ourselves down? The delivery drone? Yes, with some modifications, the bigger issue would be its lack of life support. Salvage from around Tacoma, we could rig up oxygen, pressure, climate change drone down to Luna and get home from there. If we're not confident in VT making it up here before O2 runs out and we can call for a pickup, getting out to Luna is our only real hope. Okay, sit tight. Good idea. Thanks, Bert.
Can't believe everybody went along with this.
I'll head downstairs and get started on it.
Oh my god. Okay.
So now we actually have to build
Hey,
this thing.
Clive,
That was the whole point.
want to talk?
Sure.
Hey, are you okay?
Evie! Hey, Evie. Hey, I know you're all like gung-ho to help us out and everything, but I did the math. If we could get this done in like 48 hours, not 72.
Could the rest of us wait longer to go in?
Exactly.
What do you mean?
Listen, ladies, I get it. You're trying to do right by us, but every minute we wait to go in is a minute you don't have to get this thing flying. And knowing what we know about VT, we've got to give you every chance we can to succeed.
So there's no way we can convince you?
We made a plan. Now we just need to hold up our end of the bargain.
Then I guess we should stop wasting time and get to work.
But what is the plan?
be good, Evie. You just wait. Ride of your life.
In more ways than one.
I didn't think things would end like this. Did you?
What do you mean, end?
Come on, Clive.
What?
You really think they can turn that thing into a passenger vehicle in 2 days? We might as well hold our breath and just try dog paddling over there.
But
Listen, it's okay. We know it's not safe working up here. We just don't think about it a lot, but here we are. And we knew it all along.
but VT could.
VT's not fucking coming, Clive. VT's not fucking coming. You think sending a crew up here at the drop of a hat just to check on things is worth it to them? Dollars and cents, Clive. You know what one of those fuckers said to me one time? If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. Them sending a crew up in time, it just doesn't make sense.
So you're just giving up then?
No. We're doing what we said we'd do. Bert and Nat, they are our only shot and we have got to take it. But I can also be realistic that...
Evie. I don't want to be realistic with you.
Well, time to go make final preparations then.
But not too finally. You know, I'm picturing it.
Hold on.
There's a few different specific callbacks to our last game, Gone Home, in Tacoma. We are pretty directly implying that they take place in the same universe because there's a gardening book written by Sam's mom from Gone Home that you can also find here in the Botany Wing. So some of them are pretty direct. But this one that we're near right now,
That's pretty direct, also.
it's fairly direct. But it's not like the same object. It's just a mug that says jazz
You think
on
people
it.
have jazz mugs in real life?
Well, a lot of people do now. They bought them from Topatico.com.
Son of a gun.
We made it happen. We ruined people's kitchens.
It's true.
But
But we don't have this for merchandise.
No.
Don't get excited about that.
As far as direct Gone Home callbacks go, there's the Janice Greenbrier book, there's the jazz mug, and then there's the Christmas duck that you find in the empty storage bunk in the network technology module
And it
later
lights
in the
up.
game. That's true. And
Unlike
it plays a
Jan's
little
book.
song for you. Yeah.
Or the jazz mug.
True. Nothing else
Honestly.
lights up and plays you a little song.
What a ripoff.
The AR game in Andrew's bunk is called Spitfire Returns, which is implied to be a sequel to Super Spitfire that you found in Gone Home, which is the
Itself.
Super Nintendo
Yeah.
version of the kind of vector graphics Spitfire game that is playable in Minerva's Den for BioShock 2. So that's
Oh,
the
I
one
love
thing
that.
actually in a lot of ways carries through the most directly from all three of those titles. The basketball Easter egg, I guess, is something that
God.
we took from System Shock 2 as an homage in Gone Home and then carried forward into Tacoma as well.
We didn't put it in Minerva's Den.
Yeah, there's no basketballs.
Minerva's Den is brilliant.
Sorry, everybody.
I'm not sorry.
I know.
So the tea garden at the end of the long hall here in Botany. If you go there, it's one of the few places in the station where it's almost entirely window. Hopefully, some people caught it. There's a small and completely serendipitous result, which is when you're actually looking out here and you wait for the other wings to come around, you can see the burst oxygen tanks that are a central plot point.
I do.
And in fact, you can see those from any place in the game. If you look out the window, they're there from the very first second of the game. But it was just kind of an accident. We built this whole wing, and we were deciding how to align the station in respect to how the wing was lined up. And I did this accidentally and put this right here because I really wanted to look out onto the solar panels of the station. And then I just saw the tanks kind of drift by slowly. So it was pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I agree.
The day we'll be walking together. Like this. The gravity, it won't be artificial. I mean, isn't it strange? We've never felt the Earth's pull together. One day.
One day.
Oh, Evie. Do you think you could get everyone to medical? I want to make sure they've got the best shot at waking back up once they do go in.
All right. How about this? Let's give folks a little time to regroup. But why don't Clive and I follow you over there right now and get ours done? No time like the present.
Lead the way.
Wait a minute. Tea garden? Fuck. Okay, this is where the thing started. So let's just go here first. Oh, okay. Sorry. Hello.
Okay, Odin. Ready? I'm gonna do it.
Revenge. Aww. Yes, I opened it, and I'm not sure I get it. You need to pass them out to the rest of the crew so they're not blinded by the glare of your damn shiny scalp. Nicholas! Haha, happy birthday, Dad. Aww. Bill would have repealed the Human Oversight Accord, opening the door to ambitious Venturous Belt project. Space travel and hospitality corporations like Venturous are seeing their profits shrink as enter the Venturous Belt, a flock of 1,000 automated economy orbital bungalows arrayed around Earth. Full automation of orbital facilities is currently outlawed by Human Oversight Accord, which requires Venturous over 15 billion SGD into development, manufacture, and deployment of the bungalows themselves, and also into extensive lobbying, largely through sympathetic council members Douglas Chun, for a repeal of council member Chun stepped down from seat 3 months ago, leaving today. Oh man. Oh man, and you got a bungalow. Oh shit, Andrew.
With this time.
Oh. Are they playing a game? Homework is more important than fun. Okay. Dear Mr. Dagyab and Mr. Figueroa, thank you for allowing us to show you and your talented son Nicholas around our cutting-edge campus. As the DEC's leading performing and augmented arts educational institution, AU Buffalo is proud to be the #1 destination for talented students like Nicholas, whose ambitions drive them to forge a meaningful career in the arts. You express interest in discovering more about financial options to enable your son's education. We are happy to accept loyalty from internationally recognized corporate institutions, including the Venturous family of corporate entities, at competitive rates. And if Nicholas is able to secure a position with Amazon original content following graduation, we offer tuition forgiveness programs that could result in a college education for Nicholas at effectively no cost to you. Thank you again for visiting our campus and introducing us to your talented son. Please contact us with any further inquiries as you may have. This is awful.
So the propulsion suits are never actually called out in the lore of the game, but the idea behind them is that each crew member has a couple of them in their bunks, and that they're used to sort of traverse the central hub, which is that microgravity environment, unlike the rest of the station. So they have little air jets placed in the fabric of strategic areas, kind of on the arms, the hips, and the legs. And there's little jets that the user move in kind of a controlled way through this giant space. And it also lets us make like a uniform for the Tacoma station that we can kind of personalize with like a name tag for each crew member. I did a little concept for them. It's just the idea behind them was sort of like a space coverall, something not too glamorous. But it's fun. I got to use ZBrush, which is a sort of like a clay sculpting program, and sort of snuck them in everyone's closet.
Says he got a photo, but I couldn't find it. The Gardens of Versailles. Ugh. That's the grandma.
So a lot of Tacoma's character dynamics are about trust and who trusts who with what in what context, all those sorts of things. I think we see a lot of that in the botany module specifically. We see, Evie telling the crew, here's our plan and it's going to work, and then when she's in private with Clive saying, this plan isn't going to work, like, what are you thinking? And then I think that you can kind of contrast how both Andrew and Sarah trust and confide in Odin, but Sarah confides in Odin as like a personality, and Andrew confides in Odin with like his real worries, right, and saying, what I've said is we should just trust the company and do what they say, and then as soon as I'm alone in a room with Odin, I'm saying, how likely is it really that they're going to come pick us up? How sure should I be about this, even though I'm acting totally sure in front of everybody else?
Yeah, and Andrew doesn't quite treat Odin like a person.
Right.
But like, yeah, he's at least confident in Odin's ability to not spill his information.
Right. He trusts Odin as a source of information.
Right.
And as, this
as an
thing.
analyst,
This thing that he can acknowledge his own uncertainty in
right,
front of, in a way that he wouldn't in front of a human.
Right.
In
like
this situation.
That sort of like, your pet doesn't care if you're wearing pants kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
So that's that.
True.
Andrew doesn't wear his pants in front of Odin. The end.
Andrew isn't wearing pants the entire game.
And you didn't know it.
How could you?
Everybody was cool with it.
Yeah, here are pants. My god. Like, the developers definitely are having so much fun here. Okay.
So Carla hooked us up with a botanist, and we chatted about what plants would be good to grow in a space station.
Yes.
And she was like, well, this is the sort of lighting conditions that would be good for plants, and if you're looking for something highly protein based, then you should grow some amaranth, and she suggested all these plants that would be good in like low level lighting, etc. And then
Look at
I
this.
put a bunch of squash in there and tomatoes and stuff that wasn't at all what she suggested.
Well,
And so,
the other thing though is that like we have the grow lights for them.
yeah,
Like they don't need to grow in natural, space station light. And we also totally did take their advice with the just oxygen producers, like the snake plants
Yeah.
and everything. Those are legit, real life NASA choices.
yes, they filtered formaldehyde.
The other thing is that our station didn't have to actually run on just plants,
Yeah. If you know what the rules are, then you can break them all over the place, I suppose. Or decide to
That is
throw them
true.
out the window.
What? Didn't understand.
This is one of 3 places in the game where you can decipher a code for a key code door by observing one of the characters in the AR scene actually inputting it.
Oh.
We didn't initially have that as like a mechanical concept.
That's right. That is something that we had initially only had like go find the code somewhere and bring it back, but we saw playtesters like watching when the characters would go through the door and looking at the key code, input pad and being like, oh, I was really hoping I could just figure it out from watching them. So we were like, we can do that.
And we did it.
Yeah. So, that was the point where we were like, we don't want to cut the other ways to get the code that are in the game. We want there to be multiple ways to do it. Because I think there's this feeling of, even if you get every code by just watching the character put it in, but then later you see that code somewhere else and you're like, oh, I could have gotten it this way. That's a cool feeling for the player to know that there was more than one way that they could have solved that problem. They see evidence of it, and kind of the way they got through it was up to how they were playing. Yeah.
Personally, I prefer finding the code than seeing a character put it in, if that makes sense.
So in Tacoma, one of the interesting things we got to do with the scenes is have characters interact with the world, but the world is in a different state than it was. This weird little stone.
Fuck. Hold on. Continue.
So in Tacoma, one of the interesting things we got to do with the scenes is have characters interact with the world, but the world is in a different state than it was when the characters were interacting with it. So the difference between the world that you're looking at and the world that the characters were inhabiting is hopefully visible via their actions, but not in any other way.
Right.
Yeah, here in the irrigation room, there's a good example of this where if you're watching Andrew when he's talking to Sarah, there's one point where he is walking across the room and it looks like he's holding something and it happens to be the hose that's on the ground, and you'll see the characters at the beginning walking through the hose, and then later in the scene, once he had hooked up the hose across the room, you'll see the characters step over it. So that's kind of a good example of showing both states.
Yeah, there's some other places where you only see the aftermath, like in medical, the storage room is all messed up and the shelves are knocked down, and that's what happens at the very end of the scene. But yeah, in irrigation here, you actually get to see the before and the after and the during kind of all in one place.
Yeah, the only other one I can think of is the drone, which when it explodes, it gets tilted on its stand, and so everyone's interacting with it in slightly the wrong place.
Right, and Bert is climbing up a
Yeah.
ladder that has fallen
Has been
over
knocked
onto
over.
the floor and stuff like
And
that.
using controls that are touching things that are now covered by what's that stuff called?
Foam.
Yeah.
Good commentary.
Just say foam again like that.
Oh, foam.
Man, they are having a lot of fun, and I like it.
This weird little stone is Andrew's shaping stone that he's been working on. Stone shaping is a sort of meditative practice that we made up.
True.
That you're supposed to basically just take some kind of like relatively soft stone in a vaguely spherical chunk and just like rub it with your hands, like so that it slowly is worn down into a smooth shape.
Yeah. Andrew's family kind of brought this meditative practice with them, and then he is carrying it on and, you know, lived it and practiced it in his own life.
And that's concretized by the fact that 2 of the stones up in his office belonged to his grandmother, and that she had actually worked on them for her entire life. Also, we have Andrew's cigarettes here because he's a secret smoker, much like Nat, and smoking like normal cigarettes would be an incredibly terrible idea in a space station. Like, you don't want to have an open flame anywhere on a space station where you rely on oxygen to, you know, be there. So we thought smoking was expressive enough that we wanted to have cigarettes anyway, and so we made up a variety of cigarettes that did not actually flame, but
they are self-vaporizing, effectively. Right. So I think what we posited was that they had microscopic electric filaments in them, and then when you know, like drew on them with your breath, it would activate those filaments and vaporize part of the cigarette, and that's what you're smoking.
So they heat, but they don't, like, they never cause it to actually catch fire.
Like, the attention to detail, I'm really into.
Obviously, we're on board.
Do. Break. I can't believe everybody went along with this. God.
Yeah.
Hold on, I need to ask
Hey, are you okay?
Evie! Hey!
Nope, I'm not.
Okay. Well, do you want to talk about
I can't do it. I can't. This is all crazy. I know. Okay, I know what I said. But what was I supposed to say? You all pressured me.
Andrew.
They really expect us to climb into some jury-rigged thing and ride it through space just because VT might not come pick us up. It's insane. And first we all have to get in cryo just for the privilege. Well, some of us do.
Andrew, I don't know what to say. Bart and Nat need us. They need you.
Well, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting in cryo. I'm gonna be the sane one here. You know, nobody even considered that VT might come pick us up in time if we just wait. Nobody even considered it.
Listen, just don't talk to anybody else about this for now, okay? And if I were to call the crew into medical, you'd show up, right?
I guess it.
Just give me a little time.
Hey, Odin.
Yes, Andrew?
What should I do?
What do you mean?
I don't know. I just want to go home.
I understand.
Do you?
I believe that I do.
Can you tell me the average time it's taken VT to send an evac crew to investigate situations like this?
The average time between a remote facility losing ground contact and an investigative crew arriving on site is 98.4 hours.
God damn it.
Please try not to be worried, Andrew.
Wow.
It's easy for you to say. You don't have lungs. So, what do you think we should do?
Standard operating procedure requires all crew to engage cryogenic hibernation until help arrives.
Yeah, you know people die in cryo, right?
I know. Sometimes.
If, if we don't make it out of this, can you deliver a message to my family?
I will do everything in my power.
Okay. I'll send you something later, all right?
Of course.
Nope. So I guess we should just carry on as normal. We don't have much time. We need to make a contingency plan. But VT's supposed to come pick us up, right? Within 24 hours? Listen, just increase our supply, our oxygen supply in the short term. If worst come to worst. So is that what he's doing with the hose? There's really no way of getting a signal out? There must be something I haven't tried yet. No, Andrew, all comms are routed through a secured VT laser array and it's being destroyed and the redundancies were destroyed. Stop messaging me. Jesus. Andrew, I'm not talking about who's paying the bills, I'm talking about Nicholas. I see you every 4 months, and that's not even taking my feelings into account, which I'll just set aside for now. You might not think it's showing it, but Nicholas really wishes you were here. Listen, if you back out of your contract renewal, we'll figure out a way to make it work. You know my parents did well in the currency crash. My dad always say, I just want you home. Relying on your parents' charity is your solution. I'm building equity up here. My loyalty will pay for Nicholas' school. If I back out of this contract, we'll lose all that. And I am not. Don't appreciate this emotional sabotage when you know really getting hard not to feel it and appreciate it. Listen, I'm sorry. I just connection lost. Message and send, attempting to resend, attempting to resend. Man. Whew. This is tough.
Well, looks like this'll work. Give us a few extra hours anyway. Thanks, Odin.
Extra hours.
Odin, I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out.
Close your eyes.
I did already.
A light wind rustles the green tall grass. Your skirt billows gently. Warm sun caresses your back.
Yes.
You begin walking forward. The grass is cool. Your feet parted with each step. Do you see what is in front of you?
As I step through the grass, I naturally come upon a path.
Yes.
The dirt of the path is soft on the soles of my feet. I don't know what's going to happen to us, Odin.
Sarah.
I am striding forward confidently upon my appointed path. Wherever it takes me is where I am meant to be. I am striding confidently on my appointed path.
Sarah.
Yes, Odin?
Are you going to be all right?
I think so.
I want to see if there's a...
this time of security. Hear questions. I sometimes hear questions about contractor job security in this time of orbital automation. I simply say, what could be more secure than a prosperous company? We all know that many lower-tier orbital jobs will need to transition to surface facilities. But would we rather subsist on the scraps the unions throw us, our progress held back by outdated regulations? Or would we stride forward into the future, making our entire enterprise stronger, bringing life in orbit to millions of new customers, opening up heretofore unknown opportunities for our valued workers? I know the future I choose, and it brings me joy to know that you too support this vision we all share.
This has been a message from your Chief Executive Officer, Sergio Venturi.
VT, we've got to give you every chance we can to succeed.
So there's no way we can convince you?
More ways than one. Okay, where do we start?
Start? I got things started as soon as this all went down. I'll show you what I got lined up. To the workshops!
Is it medical? Whoa. Bear with me. Got a text message. Sorry about that. So, medical it is. Cat for them.
Okay, Sarah. We'll see you over in Mech.
Soon as everything's wrapped up here.
Alright. Good speed.
Is it you? Isn't having more data available to the pilot desirable? Yeah, but the raw nav data is formatted, for the Zenith AI's use. Bird's going to need to be able to use this stuff in real time while she's out of control, so navigation code itself interprets the data and displays recommendation for optimal manual inputs to the pilot. Expose the raw data for cross-reference if needed. Yes, I understand. I'll prepare revision 2.212 of the manual drone navigation control software and something. Emergency in effect. 50 hours. No, it's okay, don't worry about it. But I just wanted to say that I think you're a really good station admin, and no matter how I acted, I want you to know that I'm not going to let you down. That's very sweet, Nat, I appreciate it. I need to something. See you on the other side. The user is offline. Goodness me. Goodness me. For your appointment. Christ. No, on another facility. Like if she was malfunctioning, or if there had been anything wrong with her about people might not have known about. Try looking in VT's tech error ticket backlog for any hits. Okay, Fountain of Paradise Medical AI, about 3 years ago. Agaday. This looks delicious. Unfortunately, the information you have requested is defined as classified by Venturis, so I'm unable to transmit it to you. I wish I could. I'm sorry, Sarah. It's okay. You don't have to apologize. I know you have your rules you have to follow. I wonder if Ned could get at it. I cannot prevent you from approaching Natalie about this issue. I can advise you that doing so would violate terms of her security clearance. I think these are chocolates. Nasal congestion. Hi Sarah, so glad somebody wanted one of these beautiful orchids. Remember, not too much water and just ask if you need guidance or an upkeep plant care tips. I'm here to help. Aww. Deep waters in the heavens. It's tea. Oh, I love this. Trying to see.
So this is one question I have, because I don't remember how we got to it, but there was a lot of iteration on the design of the AR desktops, but what we settled on was kind of the horseshoe icons, which
You mean
I
the horseshoe bat?
I think came from you. The horseshoe bat.
Yeah. Well, we started out with the earliest versions of it being a grid of screens almost that would pop up in front of the player's vision.
That felt kind of disorganized, so we brought things in for a short time to make it kind of like a taskbar
Yeah.
at the bottom, which I think a lot of people are used to, which is why we went that way. You know?
Yeah.
It's a lot of phones, a lot of desktops use that.
And also that also wasn't using the player's visual field really. It was just still behaving like a flat computer screen. And so yeah, we did the strange decision of bending it into a horseshoe shape so that it could surround the center of the player, or I guess character's visual field.
Instead of having it function like an actual phone where you have to like look at it, the AR desktop takes advantage of the fact that it's actually in the world in front of you. You're not holding anything. You don't have to like look down at an object. It can just be in your peripheral vision and you can look from side to side at it.
It is partially a realistic
a normal
usage
one.
scenario and partially also so that the player could actually see the world while looking at it. And yes, it makes a horseshoe bat.
I don't see.
Sarah ends up being kind of the Ellen Ripley character of the game, but she didn't start as that character when we were writing the game. We really started from who the characters were and what their roles were, and then fit them into a plot. And I think that as we were going along, by getting to know Sarah, we realized that she made the most sense to be the person who would, in a way, kind of like team up with Odin to pull off this plan in the end.
Yeah, no one else's relationship with Odin is really as personal at all. Like, even Nat, whose job it is to work with him, you know, she treats him as a project a little bit, you know, or a pet, and it's just not
or a problem
quite
to
the
solve
same.
or a system. It was interesting for us
Anxiety.
to get a feel for Sarah and kind of realize she has a kind of like boldness to her and a determination to her, even if she also has these internal struggles with like anxiety and everything. And we discovered that she's the kind of person that if she was put into this kind of like high pressure do or die situation, she would just do her best to do it. She would kind of rise to that occasion, and she ends up being the only person that can do that. And I think we get to see how she follows through.
Man, I love the Alien franchise.
Once more into the breach. What?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about how Evie and Clive are already in deep freeze. Did you read the message they sent?
Yeah. Why are we going into the supply closet?
I got to talk to them a little bit right before Sarah took them down to cryo, and Evie was being so encouraging. They're putting all their faith in us, but...
But what?
Right before they turned to go, just for a second, they look so worried.
Oh, baby.
The clock is ticking, and I just keep thinking, what if the last time they saw each other is the last time they'll ever see each other?
Don't think about that.
How can I? How can you not think about it?
So, you know the concept of partitioning from early century computing?
Yeah, I think so.
So, you have a data drive. Maybe one partition was your operating system, and the other one was like general data storage. And maybe you'd partition part of the drive off to contain something that might be unstable that you otherwise kind of, wanted not to interfere with anything else. There are certain things that are gonna help us get this done, but some things, they need to be partitioned off. Because thinking about them isn't gonna help us.
But you're thinking about us, at least, aren't you?
Yeah. And when I do let myself start thinking about how there's a possibility this is the last of our time together too, then I start thinking we should really make the most of it.
Dear Lord.
Ain't something that
I don't think I would be able to be,
I don't know,
that... Okay. That, horny.
It's up here.
Alright, good speed.
Because I would just be panicking.
Oh, Odin. Did I do the right thing?
Hold it. Graduation. But look, fuck. Ah! Stop, grab it. We'd like to remind you that while your posting contract while Lunar Transfer Station Tacoma is currently up for renewal, there would be many more posting options open to you if you were to accept personal responsibility for the incident of September the 2nd, 2085, upon the Fountain of Paradise. As you know, the court case is being settled, so there would be no further negative impact on you, and your opportunities with Adventurers would be significantly improved. I'll take the renewal. Thanks. I'm not sure if, she was happy about that. So she's been a doctor for 5 years.
When you look at a character's collection of books, like when you look at Sarah's books here in her office, I think that we tried to reinforce some of the themes or some of the character's main concerns or interests or anxieties through what they had on their bookshelves. So with Sarah, she's a doctor, so she has health and nutrition and doctor stuff, but she also is a reader and a thoughtful person, so she has fiction and poetry, and she also has a lot of anxiety, so there's sort of both meditation and books specifically about dealing with anxiety, and she also comes from a Muslim background, and I think through the books you get the idea that she looks at her faith from almost like an academic perspective or an analytical perspective, and I think you can tell that almost exclusively through looking at what kinds of books she keeps in her personal spaces.
Additionally, we got to project some of our own likes and dislikes onto the characters, because, in order to fill out someone's library, it's pretty hard to keep everything completely on topic.
Right.
I believe Nina requested the William Carlos Williams book, and a couple others here and there.
And we have Alice Munro and
Margaret Atwood.
And Margaret Atwood.
And Deepness of the Sky is one of my favorites.
I would say that this is applicable, like whatever they said about Sarah, this is applicable to all the characters. They didn't do that, like the book thing, they didn't do that just for her. They did that for all the characters. If ptos peds flopsetopeg. I was hoping there would be like what's it called? Like forget what I was gonna say. Right, I remember. Like a Easter egg type of thing. Anyways.
In what regard?
Does Nat deserve to know what her odds are if she ends up going into cryo?
I believe that you have made a decision with both Roberta and Natalie's best interests at heart.
Above all, do no harm. If we do make it out of this thing, Nat's going to have to find out I didn't tell her everything at some point.
I believe that is a bridge to be crossed at a later date. Andrew is here for his exam.
Oh. Send him in. So you showed up for your exam?
I did.
So does that mean you've decided to...
What's gonna happen to us, Sarah?
What? Well, Bert and Nat are going to fix up the drone with life support, and then we're...
No. I mean... What if things don't work out? And we're still stuck in cryo?
Oh. Well, when you go into stabilizing sleep, it feels just like any other sleep, really. The body effectively goes into a controlled hypothermic coma.
Do you dream?
Sometimes. Sometimes very intense dreams.
And then what?
After a certain amount of time, your body slows down too much, things start shutting down, don't wake back up.
It doesn't hurt.
No.
Do you think Bert and Nat can get it done?
I do.
Then I'll just have to trust your professional opinion and do my part. It's been good working with you, Doc. I'm ready for my exam.
Odin.
To everyone left awake on Tacoma Station, I've added tracking widget to all crew desktops. To place a pretty accurate estimate of how much breathable air remains on the station, following the algae bloom and Evie and Clive going into cryo, the counter should give you a pretty good estimate, but you should keep an eye on it, and... Hey ladies, your scans look good, you're cleared for cryo. Or cryo. If, God forbid, into the pods, attaching some same standard instructions I sent along to Evie and Clyde. In the case of a medical emergency, when surgical or other required medical facilities, temporary cryogenic suspension until you can be transported for treatment. Here's a quick look at preparation. Medical staff will scan you and determine an appropriate regimen of fluids to be administered by intravenous methods. Dosage of diuretics and laxatives, and given time for your body to react to them before, I don't know. Medical staff will guide you as you enter the cryogenic device. If the cryogenic facilities to your location are in a microgravity, medical staff will have special training to amenorrhea. What? Okay. Sorry. Dear Mark and Nicholas, I don't know how to say this, but accident on the station. If you're reading this, we weren't able to survive it. Oh! Okay, I don't know how to say this, but there was an accident on the station, and if you're reading this, we weren't able to survive it. And I'm sorry. Nicholas, I'm sorry I won't be there to see you grow to be the amazing man I already see you becoming. Mark, I'm sorry I won't be there to hold your hand as we grow old together. Don't forget me. Know that I loved you more than I'm sorry. Odin, I can do this right now. I'll finish this later. Stop dictation. The drone was never meant to support human life. There's no air supply system, no onboard controls at all. There's not enough radiation shielding for human passengers, and I'm just going to have to figure out where to scavenge all that stuff from Tacoma in a way that won't break the station, and I hope that I can retrofit the drone to support human life long enough for me to manually pilot the 6 of us from Tacoma to the moon. So, I really need to get back to it, sorry. Thanks for buying us a few more hours of oxygen with that algae thing, Andrew. Dear crew, I would rather not be writing this. Clive and I, not why I wish I weren't singing these words. It is because above all I believe in this crew and I wish I could be there to see you succeed in this. We have the right people to make our plan a reality. We will breathe fresh air again. We will see our families again. We will feel the Earth's pull again, together. For now, Clive and I will do our part in settling into Creo. Soon Andrea will join us. Sarah, Bert, and Nat, we're all counting on you now. Couldn't be in better hands. With love and gratitude. Andrew, information you requested. While Ventura strives to ensure the safety of each of its contractors, occasionally accidents do happen. In the case that a contractor dies, transport of remains and funeral arrangements are paid for by Venturas. Loyalty and any additional Venturas accident insurance that the contractor has invested in are immediately transferred to the contractor's specified beneficiary. Compound loyalty continues to accrue until the end of the contract term. I don't know if that even makes sense. Stay safe up there, and it's everyone's job to keep contractors and employees safe. Okay.
At Venturis, we look boldly into the future, not backward into the past. While we are proud of our heritage luxury facilities, like the Zenith Lunar Resort, the popular perception of orbital travel as playground of the super wealthy is outdated. It's holding us back. The future of Venturis is inclusivity, and that inclusivity is defined by the Venturis Belt Project, a network of 1,000 fully automated private vacation homes encircling Earth, available to the public at prices a mere fraction of any orbital travel on offer today. The Venturis Belt will be a revelation of industry and rocket our enterprise to amazing new heights.
This has been a message from your chief.
Okay, now I need a code. I really need a code. And I haven't found it.
So this book here is actually written by an AI, one of the major Venturis AIs, called Fand, who's in charge of Kiribati City-State. Fand is really the only other positive, successful seeming AI that acts the most human in our fiction. she's written this book here about how she came to, reorganize her domain.
But it's also kind of like a philosophical
Yeah.
book about mindfulness, which I think is a really interesting aspect of consciousness for an AI to be thinking about and to become an authority on. This book was something that Carla put together. We had agreed that we were like, oh, we should have a book that was written by an AI to show more of what different AIs are in our world, so it doesn't just seem like it's Odin.
Yeah.
And then I guess there's other AIs, but to actually have some examples. And so, yeah, this was Carla's version of, like, what is an interesting additional perspective for an AI to represent. And I thought this almost like enlightened Buddhist seeming perspective that this AI presumably has developed over years and years of observation and kind of examining its own ways of working and how people relate to each other and stuff, felt like a legitimate thing that could happen with the concept of AI, but definitely not something that we had seen anywhere else within our fictional world.
JJ Pratt. Thank you again. Okay, so you are mourning this person. Etching. Wait a second. I had a key. I lost the key somehow. I gotta look at the floor. I know I had a key. Oh my god.
You as a player might notice a few different references to Tina in the game. There's the screaming Tina that you might see on the specialty cocktails board in the kitchen, which you then may later discover refers to the skeleton here in Med, that you can put the skull back on the skeleton and then put the hat on the skull, and the hat is labeled Tina, which means the skeleton's name is Tina. But all of this Tina nonsense is a reference to our next door office mate. The office that we made Tacoma in is in an old building with thin walls, and there was a company next door to ours that we would hear this woman screaming through the wall with some frequency, either because she was so angry or so amused by things.
Just shrieking, like, most of the time.
A lot of the time. Tina was very energetic.
Yeah.
So to be clear, her name wasn't Tina.
No. Steve just made it up at one point.
We were like, we always hear this woman screaming through the wall of our office. We have to be able to refer to her as something.
Rather than, like, go over and introduce ourselves and, like, ask her what her name was, we were like, well, we'll just name this phenomenon Tina.
And part of that is because there were two women that worked in the office next door to ours. And so, since we only ever heard the screaming through the wall, we didn't know who in the office it actually was. And so, for years, we were conjecturing about which of the women in that office was Tina. And then they moved out, like, shortly before the end of the development of Tacoma. And one day, soon before they moved out, I heard Tina's voice screaming and saying, "Oh my fucking god!" over on one side of the office. And then Tina, on the other side of the office, respond with, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I realized it was both of them, and they both screamed like that all the time, and that's why we heard so much screaming over there.
So they had a corporate culture of screaming.
So we wanted to
That is
pay
amazing.
homage to Tina in the game. We figured a screaming skeleton was probably a good way to do that. Thanks, Tina.
Okay. I'm pretty sure my neighbors have the same complaints about me because sometimes I also get loud when playing games. Like whether I get scared, whether I get ragey, whether I get like surprised and hyped. Yeah, I'm probably hated. All right. In the meantime, I also found the key. Hello, girls. So this is the skull they mean. So apparently it's missing a head, huh?
So this is one of the areas that you get into by using a physical key, which there's only a couple of in the game. But there's a few different ways that we lock off information. There's physical keys and there's key code doors, and sometimes there's just stuff that's harder to find because of where it's placed. Because there is this hierarchy of accessibility or findability of space, we also tend to map that towards kind of the deeper or more obscure,
more ancillary, you know, less central, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Less central, but hopefully more valuable
Oh, yeah.
to people who are looking to find all of the detail in the game, right? Like the thing you're doing as a designer is you have this contract with the player that says, like, if you follow us through all of these prompts, if you see a key, it's saying you can go use it, and if you go use it, you'll get something that made you happy that you actually bothered.
Yeah.
And if we
Worth your time.
right, and if we waste your time and say like, haha, there was nothing in there, or you were like, well, I already knew that, why did I go to all this trouble, then like the next time you see a key, you're not going to want to use it. And then we've lost someone who otherwise might want to actually engage with all this stuff that we put in front of you.
Yeah, we want to safeguard the player's goodwill and interest
and value their the time that they're putting into the game, you know, and the effort that they're putting into the game.
It's a fun challenge sometimes to make something that is juicy enough to be like, oh, I am glad I found that, but that is not, you know, what the character specifically hangs on.
No, I really like that. So this gives backstory about why Sarah is just reading and wanting to know more about that poor man. Mousy. Kitty cat. Is there someone in here? No. Oh, it's the heel. Okay, let's try to find a code. Code. Graduation. When did you graduate? 2080? Is that it? Yeah. Shit, you're short. Menstrual suppression. Jesus. No risk factors. Okay. Oh boy. Arc murmur. Severe risk of death. Oof. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's okay. Kiss me. Oh boy. Oh my god. It didn't even show the results for the other two that are already in cryogenic stuff. Subcontractor Fourier. Proceed immediately to the engineering module. Once AI data is transferred from a module, you must also secure and return the AI's physical processing medium. The latter requirements of the highest priority. Okay, engineering. Yes, ma'am. What is this? Personnel. Medical. Engineering.
So, with regards to art direction, when we originally conceived of the station, we were talking about wall colors for each of the wings, and we wanted each wing to be the color of the crew member who lived in it. So, you know, Evie's
never
is
noticed.
purple. So originally the kitchen was as a nice purple color, and the wing you're standing in now in engineering would be orange to match Bert, etc. But 6 colors is a lot of colors. And so in the interest of simplicity, we chose just one central color for each of the 3 wings. And they're not particularly tied to any character. They're just, you know, nice to look at or evoked a nice feeling. So green for personnel, blue for biomed, and an industrialish orange for engineering. Paring things down or opting for simplicity is something that I, as an art person, I found I rarely regret, and especially as it pertains to player flow, the idea of having 6 different colors, I could see how that would get confusing after a while, and so we sort of opted to go the way that we did, and I think that it really helps with regards to landmarking. You know, you realize you're in the same wing, and then you'll traverse to a different wing, and it's a different color, and you know you're in a different area. So I'm glad that we sort of simplified things the way we did.
I mean, personally, I never noticed, um, you know, like the colors, but I appreciate her explanation. I mean, I didn't even acknowledge the problematic that it is, like that Amy, right? That's my name. Amy just can actually see someone in the shower, basically. This is H again. Okay, bye. Seriously, don't drop it. The crew records from the station. Time of the wipe. Okay. Whoa. We can't go there yet. "18 hours. That's really recent. Maybe. Hold on. Evie's in cryo, Clive is in cryo, manual control software ready, installing into drone. Andrew in cryo, drone life support controller ready, standing by as medical support for prior procedures. Yeah, stuff. Margaret Catwood, probably sleeping somewhere. Go team.
I'll catch up with you. Okay.
Earlier, when you decided to...
Let's see. Hi Sarah, you said to take my time and let you know when I'm ready to go into cryo, but I'm ready now. If I'm doing this thing, doesn't make sense to waste any more oxygen dragging my feet. I sent out a message to everybody who's left awake, but I just wanted to thank you for your patience and guidance and your discretion when I wasn't sure about things. I know lots of people in your shoes would have just said, fuck this guy, I don't have time for this, and psyched the station admin on me, etc. But I really appreciate your caring, even if I know that really I was just trying to fight the inevitable. But I guess maybe that's what we're all doing. I guess we'll see. Thanks for being my friend. I'm headed to cry now. See you there. To sleep, for chance to dream. There's the rub. For your death, sleep a death, where dreams may come. What in the world, my guy? Sarah Burt is making fun of me because my parents were hippies and never got me gene filter before I was born. I'm sorry, Nat. Lots of parents don't get their children gene filtered. Sometimes for religious reasons, sometimes because they're hippies. I was working on the drone. Sorry, Doc. Really focused on this. Burt making fun of me right now. When's the last time you slept? That's beside the point. What the hell? Okay. Regarding, I write to inform you that I write to inform you of my mindset in the case that this crew does not survive the incident aboard Tacoma. I am fully aware that crew member Kuroshenko's medical scans indicate their chances of survival when subjected to cryogenic status are minimal. However, more humane for Ms. Kuroshenko to expire peacefully in cryosleep than to asphyxiate as a dead station. No, this was my own decision, made of sound mind, and that I take all responsibility for better or worse. Okay. So she will put her in cryo. I mean, honestly, I don't know what I would have done.
Withhold information from Natalie about her medical scans. That was to avoid causing her undue stress.
Right.
What if you were unable to make that choice? If you had no choice?
Odin?
I would like to take this opportunity to remind you that Standard Venturus Corporation safety protocol requires all crew to enter cryogenic sleep immediately upon the loss of primary oxygen supply.
What?
As Tacoma Station's medical officer, it is within your power to order all crew to enter cryogenic sleep.
Odin, Nat and Bert are right in the middle of... Oh no.
Sarah, there is a fire suppression device there. South wall of the drone bay.
Oh my god. Are you okay? Can you feel your feet and hands?
Ew! Ow. My hip hurts.
Bert? Bert! 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 1, 2, 3.
Oh god.
Bert, can you hear me? 1,
What will you do now?
What the?
Thing is going to fly.
Then tell me what you are going to do.
Oh my god, Odin. Our Innet aren't injured. The drone is fucked. I'm going to give them a little time to get over the shock, but then we're going into cryo.
Sarah, please listen carefully. I am not telling you what to do, but I am mentioning that there is a door in the network technology module that is normally inaccessible to the crew, and it is true that you could, before proceeding to cryo, investigate that door.
What are you telling me here, Odin?
I have told you all that I can. Simple facts, nothing more.
Oh my god, Odin. Are my patients stable?
Yes,
Their conditions won't degrade if I leave them here?
they should not.
Nat, is there some door in networking that we can't normally get into?
Yeah, it's Odin's hardware compartment, but we're not allowed direct access. Why?
Where is it?
What have you got on your mind, Doc?
Please, I'm sorry. Look, that fire just burned up a lot of our time.
Here. It's here. In networking. You'll have to go through the maintenance shaft to get there. Here's the technical access code.
Okay.
Fuck.
You
Hold on.
don't let her... Don't let...
Code.
0809. Goodness. 0809.
Okay. You don't let her go to sleep. And you don't let her... move.
Sarah, what's going on?
I wish I knew. I'm gonna go find out.
Computer revision 3718 of the manual drone navigation control software based upon your specifications. 92% chance of successfully integrating with the drone's existing systems with no further complications. That'll have to do. You got it ready to slot? Yes, I've loaded the code package into manual transfer injector dongle, and thanks, mate. We'll come grab it. We'll come grab it and be on my way. 3 pods occupied. To die, to sleep. I'm off to sleep for now, and we'll wish for pleasant dreams, dreams of success. I'm sure you'll bring us Nat, Bert, and Sarah. I wish there were more I could do, but for now, good luck. But it's so irresponsible. My parents love me. They were just hippies. It's normal. I'm going to ask Sarah. She said it's normal, and you have to stop making fun of me. When's the last time you slept? Why do people keep asking me that? What the fuck, dude? You got by Net the Bread. Fly me to the moon. Fly me to the moon. I can't sing. I'm sorry. Fire extinguisher. Expand. Ooh. What? Holy crap, I was digging around the inventory servers for some stuff for Sarah, and I found a bunch of exec level meeting records in an insecure depot and pulled some. Board member anonymized ACCT 987. You assured us the Venturous Bell would be hosting passengers by the new year. The idea was something failed and we're down 18 points, 18 a month. Councilmember Chen had everything under control. Fuck you. That's something. Excuse me? Shut up. Shut the fuck up. If the Venturous Bell is operational, bringing in record profits by the next OCP elect, I worked for your father. I knew your grandfather. They were great men. It's your last chance to pull their legacy out of the fire. Fix it. Looks like we're not the only ones unhappy with old Sergio's performance lately. Roberta, Indra, have found a number of options for you. I've decided to provide my top 3 picks for your profile here. Are your recommended School of Arts and Design? Singapore. Venturous. So you want to be an artist? This is pretty good. Really? Damn it, it failed. Fuck. Oh my god, you are a painter.
All right.
Wipes. They live together. Williams. Kuroshenko. Oh my god. I love Rubik's. No thanks. Is it like a sex toy and I'm not understanding? What is this duck? These people are so messy. Paint tube, paintbrush.
Yeah, Bert, in fact, is engaged with decorating their room in the AR fragment that's here. It's kind of an externalization of Bert's desire for something else. You know, Bert's desire to kind of branch off from what she's been trained to do as a mechanical engineer and be able to kind of follow her, you know, passion of doing art and being an artist.
Yeah. Or at the very least her interest. But yeah,
right.
It's not really encouraged by Venturas.
Right. But the painting that she's doing is a painting called Luna, that I think is from like sort of the 19th century kind of like pre-Raphaelite school. And we thought it was on theme, being like a lady on a moon.
Yeah,
that you know,
that's cute.
Bert is very sweet, but her idea was a little on the nose, but that's okay.
I mean, Clive's music is a little on the nose. It's fine.
It's true. We can blame our characters on
Oh
how
yeah.
corny we
Oh,
are.
that's exactly what we should do. Yes, you're right.
We are going to talk about filled animals, which there is one of in Tacoma.
And it's like a stuffed animal but filled with gel?
Right, yeah,
Okay.
it's stuffed with gel.
It's
I would
filled,
say.
even.
It's filled and stuffed simultaneously.
It's gross. Well, I just know that they weren't going to make it for a long, long time. Like, they just weren't in the game. And finally, they came in hot, like, at the very end. Like, we were like, well, we have the model. Like, I had modeled it at some point, and Noel had rigged it.
Because of all the joints and the wiggliness of the legs, I think it was an interesting time to try to make it behave in a way that was the appropriate amount of terrible.
So yeah, I guess Filled Animals happened because of our love for plushies
Swords
and
and
just being
shields.
jokesters. I think many things in Tacoma came from office jokes and then became serious.
Serious in quotes.
Wait, what does it say? Words painting playlist.
I like Nat and Bart's bunk. We tried to make each bunk feel very different from the rest. They all have a different footprint. They all have a different, color and aesthetic to them, as best as we could do. But I think that Nat and Bart's bunk might be one of the more successful. They have sort of a high number of unique assets, like the weird floppy gel animal. They have the mouth guard, and mouth guard is directly modeled on my own mouth guard. I was holding it in my hand as I sculpted it, so in a way, those are my teeth in the game.
What
They
mouth
also
guard?
have the sex toys. There's the vibrator and the rope. Just the mural on the wall is good.
Oh dear
We're
Lord.
gonna talk about Filled.
Sorry.
I like Nat and Bart's bunk. We tried to make each bunk feel very different from the rest. They all have a different footprint. They all have a different color and aesthetic to them, as best as we could do. But I think that Nat and Bart's bunk might be one of the more successful. They have sort of a high number of unique assets, like the weird floppy gel animal. They have the mouth guard, and mouth guard is directly modeled on my own mouth guard. I was holding it in my hand as I sculpted it, so in a way, those are my teeth in the game. They also have the sex toys. There's the vibrator and the rope. Just the mural on the wall is kind of interesting. So I think it's one of the more interesting bunks to visit.
Toys. Okay.
Nat and Bart's bunk, I give it 5 stars.
Oh, the pillows. That the other dev was, not complaining about. That sounds too harsh, but okay. Smoke too much.
Something that players with a keen eye for game development history might notice when they're playing Tacoma is the presence of a character named Roberta Williams. That's Bert's full name. And people have asked, is that a reference to Roberta Williams, the creator of King's Quest and co-founder of Sierra Online? And the answer is yeah, of course it is. I tend to enjoy when occasionally in fiction there's a fictional character that quote unquote just happens to have the same name as a real world historical figure or famous person or whatever, like Sheriff Harry S. Truman in Twin Peaks or something like that. And so I kind of wanted to do that. And also, Roberta Williams as a figure in the industry was a really influential person in both her work as a game designer and writer, and one of the very, very first originators of the graphical adventure game with the King's Quest series. And so anyway, we see, I think, what we do with games like Tacoma as kind of having one foot in traditional adventure games and one foot in immersive sim influenced, games that come from the Looking Glass tradition of games like Thief and System Shock. So yeah, being able to put, a little bit of an homage and a tip of the hat to Roberta Williams in the game and kind of acknowledge, I think, the reverberations that her work have had even on, stuff that we're doing now was a cool opportunity to have.
I love that. I really do. Second place. Oh. Woman. Oh my goodness. Holy shit, you can paint. is adorable. Contractor Williams, thank you for your interest in Venturi's Education and Retraining Assistance Program. Many contractors who receive their initial certification via Venturi's and affiliated correspondence certification program show great interest in education and retraining assistance. Unfortunately, per your query, we're unable to provide assistance for students attending educational facilities outside of Ventura's educational system. However, we are prepared to offer easy repayment preferential loyalty rates if you do choose to use one of Ventura's official degree programs for your education and retraining needs. Like, I'm sorry, but this is adorable. It really is. Wait. The code is 0809. The code is their wedding. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
In Tacoma, one of the things that we wanted to acknowledge was to have some evidence of how geopolitical changes had happened over time. And so, yeah, when you look at, for instance, the flags over Bert's workstation, or when you look at the crew IDs that you can find all throughout the station, the parts of the world that people hail from are not one-to-one with countries or city-states or nation-states necessarily that exist in those forms today. We, I think, only know as much about our fictional universe as we need to, which in many cases is more than we put into the game and more than a player could know just from playing it, but it's also only as much as we need to know.
Because we only know where the story touches. Like,
we know enough to know what we can refer back to in the text.
Right.
And I think that we know that the DEC exists because we knew that Andrew was from New York, and we needed a region name for where New York is now. But we don't have a ton of knowledge about what's going on in parts of the world that the game doesn't touch. But hopefully there's still enough of territories surrounding what you actually see in the game that the player kind of gets glimpses of, that you get a feeling of sort of cohesive external
richness.
world.
Yeah.
This is super cool. Did I go here, guys? No. My goodness.
At one point, I decided to make a variety of beer that was named the same as your small child.
Yes.
It's true.
It was a surprise.
Yeah, did we surprise you with it?
You guys pranked me.
I needed more stuff to put on the packaging because there's always basically infinite things that you have to put on packaging, and I'm like, I can't write that much about your child. What am I gonna do? So I asked Steve for. I was like, do you have any good timing quotes? Because you're a very quotable person. And so Steve looked up some old tweets of yours, and we kind of put them on the beer cans.
You kind of put them on the beer cans. So I think we should set up the one detail that's missing here.
Oh,
That's very
which one's
important to
that?
me. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's important, right? Yeah, I had no idea. So that's why it's a prank. It's not a prank that it's my daughter's name. The real prank
it's all a prank.
Here's your goofy words.
God, they're so good though.
On a can.
What? I don't know.
This crossword puzzle is sort of an intense repository of extra world building that we didn't get in anywhere else.
It's true. Well, we have a whiteboard in our office that had a bunch of different kind of like world building universe details that we had decided on at different points in development. And only some of them were mentioned naturally in like emails or dialogue or whatever. So this crossword was a good place to just sort of jam in a Rosetta Stone of like what else is happening on Earth and in orbit that you don't see on Tacoma. Something that's fun about doing speculative fiction is being able to do weird, obscure universe building stuff, but you also never really want to like foreground that and make it be like understand every detail of our stupid lore. You have to deal with it. But people that actually really care about that stuff are probably willing to do a fictional crossword puzzle to understand like all of the underpinnings of the year 2088.
I don't know if people can do this crossword puzzle if they don't like actually know the answer.
It's true. I think that like one challenge with this was just like fitting the clues and a crossword puzzle onto one page.
Yeah, that was legible.
Right, so you could actually read it when you examined it. And I think that there might be a couple fewer lines on the puzzle than there are clues.
That might be.
So I'm sorry if you can't actually complete this crossword puzzle, but the Venturer magazine doesn't really do careful quality control because they don't care.
They don't care at all.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like if you just go from the clues, you can't complete it. So I was paying attention. Goodness me. All right. So that is a drone bay. Workshop. Gotcha. In here. That in Bird's place. The bunks are rocking, don't come a knocking. If it's not rocking, please knock loudly here. If the curtain's closed. They have a lot of sex then.
So the bounce lighting is specifically referring to the idea that when the sun comes through in some spaces and hits certain surfaces, we try to make it look like the whole room changes temperature and sometimes warms up. Most rooms that have a large pool of sunlight that moves through actually has a floating point light that's just sitting there. And that point light is one color, and it is on a timer that is linked to the angle of the sun. And when the angle of the sun hits X or Y, it warms up or cools down. And for me, and I don't know if this hit you as well, but it made it feel a lot like a plane. For me, when I'm in a plane and the plane banks or the sun setting or something, it's changed in the plane and the light starts coming through in a different way, and you see it like go across the ceiling, and then the room temperature changes and it becomes, a little golden and a little orange. And it's just this, you can be, watching a movie in the back of a seat at a plane, and then suddenly you're like, oh, I'm flying through the air.
Yeah, I think it's lovely. I think it's a really nice effect.
We're in mechanical engineering, which is Bert's zone. One of the big considerations when we were working on designing each level in Tacoma, each wing, was how does the player sort of encounter each room and in what order? For example, we have most of the bunks be kind of like tucked away in the back of each wing, usually with sort of an entryway or a longer hallway that kind of separates it from the main working areas.
We did a lot of tricks. For a time, there was even kind of this idea of an airlock where there were 2 doors that you had to go through to get to everybody's bedroom. And then you can see in mech, there's an example of an elevation change. We tried as much to make them feel like they were lower or higher than the rest of the space, so you kind of had to go upstairs to get to the bedroom.
And that was so that, we could have these working spaces where we would imagine, like, Bert would come out and, like, do her mechanical engineering work during the day, and then going home for her, she at least has this sort of, like, separation of work and personal space and not just be, like, living in your office.
Right.
So, yeah, each wing is sort of designed to have the working spaces be accessible in an order that makes sense and to have the bunks in the back to give characters a sense of personal space.
That makes sense, and I appreciate that. This is where they would be. Oh, never mind. 0809? Yeah. Months? That is a long ass time. The lights. Oh my god.
Not all of the AR fragments have voice clips associated with them, and not all of them are like primarily concerned with music, but this is the AR fragments are our space to put diegetic music into the game to basically hear the music that characters were listening to when these moments happened. The music element of AR Fragments was a cool place to be able to involve different musicians in Tacoma. The band that Nat is listening to here and that's in Sarah's bunk is a band called Floating Room that are a Portland band that we discovered during the development of the game, and they had like a feel to their music that we thought really fit. They also play the end credits music
and our launch
in
party.
the game, and they played at our launch party, which was really sweet of them.
Yes.
And our friend Matt Burns, who is a musician and also works in the games industry as a writer and a producer, provided us the music for Nat's Office.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick did at least one of the tracks.
Did the one in Bert and Nat's bunk.
Yeah. And some of it, you know, was like public domain stuff like the old-timey jazz music. But yeah, it was just another way to get a cool variety of contributions from different artists and performers into the game.
That is cool. Yes. Oh, here you are. Subcontracting for years, special access has been granted to the station's AI physical processing department, the network technology module. Remember that the AI cognition medium is highly sensitive and must be carefully extracted per the specifications of your advanced AI materials handling certification.
One of the things that happens when you're working with a smaller team is that you can have interactions with everyone on the team, and that is something that I dearly miss. That was certainly almost true, I would say, of my earliest games, the Starfighter games at LucasArts. I had connection with a large amount of the team because our engineering group was pretty small in that, and so we all wore multiple hats. So I worked with all of the designers and many of specific types of artists. So we had environment artists that I often worked a lot with, but maybe not the artists who made the ships. Here, literally every person on the team I can have spent some time with and talked about some particular aspect that I need to know about, or to help them do their job better if possible. So that's a thing that's greatly changed moving to this. When I worked on larger teams with big teams of engineers, I spent almost all of my time with engineers, and it was only when specific designers or artists had specific needs of our group that they would come to me. I didn't really have the chance to just kind of walk around and spend time with individual artists or designers, which is something I dearly missed, and actually is a big part of why I've become an independent again and doing consulting, is to have the opportunity to work directly with people and see myself more on the screen as a result as well.
That is exit.
We're here to talk about working together as programmers. It's interesting because it has been a while since I've worked with someone for whom this was a first game.
Yep.
And that is unusual. So I have a almost 20-year history now in games, and
I have a 3-year history in working in games now.
That's right.
I was kind of thrown into the deep end when I was hired. We didn't have any other programmers, so having others come onto the project was super exciting for me.
Yeah. Yes, it's funny because you think of programmers as working in a vacuum, but the truth is I think we benefit a lot from a meetings of the minds to be able to pass on just whatever bits and bobs I could think of to pass along as I encounter things. What do you do?
Well, one of the things Brett really helped me with was being more aware of how I was using processing power and memory and all sorts of things, like making the stuff I was writing more efficient. And as that became more and more of a concern later down on the road, I became much more aware of like, oh, I was doing this in a super unsustainable way.
Yeah, a lot of that's just, accruing experience, and the best way to pass that on is to be able to talk over it with someone. I mean, certainly I have been doing throughout my career, but that has changed over time. There's been a lot less direct mentorship later in my career because the teams are large and established, and I'm giving a lot of guidance, but not necessarily. I'm generally working with people who are more experienced, and so I don't have to pass those tidbits along, or they may have tidbits of their own that I'm picking up as well. So anyway, that's all been kind of a terrific part of this project for me in particular.
I will take any tidbits you have to share.
Storage only. If you're looking for Nat, check our bungalow over in the Mac. Oh, storage, yeah. Yeah, because they live together. That makes sense. Grab spool. A hat. Halloween. Indentured. Copyright. Please don't.
There's a Christmas duck in Nat's bunk, which is very jolly and lights up and sings a song. And Patrick composed the lovely song, and I kind of set it up to be interactive so you can, click it to turn it on and off and stuff. Where did the song come from for you?
Yeah, the main thing was just to kind of get that classic kind of MIDI piano sound, almost like the sound like when you open greeting cards and they play those obnoxious tones at you. So it's just it's just a piano sound that I really reduced and simulated sending it through a really small speaker to kind of sell the idea that it was maybe cheaply manufactured.
Oh my god, that's so cool. Wait, so did you were playing it through a real physical tiny speaker?
Yeah, like a tiny speaker. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Yeah, super analog. Yeah, but I love the Christmas duck just because, I don't know, it's one of those moments that feel really personal when the player kind of stumbles across it. At least it did for me when I was playing through and found it. So
I did most of the product labels in Tacoma. I had some help from some of our contract artists, but I feel like I spent most of my time on this game just making up boxes for things. And honestly, I'm a stickler for detail, but my only real secret is just research the hell out of it. Just look up everything you can find that is in that space as a product and try to distill the main concepts into something that you can make happen.
Oh. Is this... Okay then. One year ago. Marcus.
Hey there, I'm Nat. Pleased to meet you.
Hello, I am Odin. I look forward to working together.
Same here, mate.
Sure, let's start there. I'm an Obsidian Class AI branch in continuous operation for 180 years. I am fully capable of organic level independent thought and reasoning. Now continue with detailed technical specifications. Okay, mate, listen. Haha, what's your caprice score for independence? 4.68. Alright, we're gonna work on getting that number up. You and me. Welcome to Tacoma crew. It's been a whirlwind couple days of onboarding and loading out, and I know most of us are still adjusting to life in orbit, but I just wanted to say how excited I am to working with all of you, and Odin, our AI. A little background on myself. I come from an aerospace manufacturing family. One of my sister's first jobs at the factory back in Tacoma, the one on Earth in Cascadia, FN, was helping build pieces of this very station we're walking around in right now. I'm the first of my family to actually leave Earth and work on one of these facilities, and I've been since. Really looking forward to getting to know you all over the coming year. Or need to pass anything along to Venture's Brush, just let me know. Here's to a successful posting. Clubby dog. Very austere, I mean corporate modern shake. What do you expect? And how's your new best friend? What's its name again? Odin. His name. And I mean, he's fine for an AI, kind of a cold fish, but I'm working on him. They're trying to get one up here on Tangers, you know. It's all the AILF talks about. I'll believe it when I see it. Failed. Getting real sick of your shit, Clive. So these are the post-its that Dev mentioned before. Oh, okay, I see. It's tattoo. This month, Odin has been making small but steady gains in efficiency, as per company directives. I've additionally been putting some of my own time into increasing his caprice ratings in creativity and permanence, which you'll find are projected to have much more significant overall gains in productivity in the long term, which you would know if you'd read the report I submitted as of 6 months ago, which I still haven't received a response to. In fact, you know what? I've never gotten a response on any of these. I know the system will give me an automatic demerit if I don't turn one in every month, but are human eyes even on these things? Let's find out. Hey, fuck you guys. Also, Odin's gone crazy and is massacring the crew. The station's full of mutants. Help, sincerely. An all-around great person. Wait. Use it? No, that's fine. Please hold it open. Hey Sarah, you're going to want to see this. I asked Odin to search up some stuff on the Venus. You were asking about. And Nat. Nice to meet you.
So the concept behind One Vein is that they are an augmented reality boy band, which is to say one of them is a physical person, i.e. Marcus, and the other two are
projections.
Like alternate personalities, kind of.
Like Hatsune Miku.
Much like.
But they do look like real people as opposed to...
It's true. It's
And importantly, the song that Nat is listening to in the shower was written by our one intern, Dylan, who's amazing.
Yes.
And he just wrote the One Vein song, the official One Vein song, and you can get it on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
And so he brought life to the One Vein band and wrote the lyrics
and sang each part.
In
character.
Which is exactly like what the fiction is.
Right.
It's the one guy.
Exactly.
So it's basically perfect. Like, I remember there was one day where we were in the office and we were talking about naming them, and it was somehow like went from Veiny Johnny to Wizard Marcus and Marcus.
Well, I thought I thought that it basically started as us saying that the character's going to have different archetypes, kind of. You know, because a lot of boy bands, it's like, he's the bad boy with a leather jacket, and he's the sporty guy, and he's the nice guy with glasses. And so we were like, well, there's Marcus, who's just the general sexy, stylish boy band guy. And then there's Veiny Johnny, who's the sports boy. And then we were like, and then what else? It's like, what if one of them was just a wizard or a magician or some sort of magic user?
Probably Tynan came up with that. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, if it was Tynan, he would have been like, one of them's a skeleton warrior.
That's a good point.
But yeah, I think we were like, what are their archetypes? One of them could be a wizard. And then from there, we were just riffing, and we were like, what if his name was just Wizard Marcus? Because he was the wizard version of Marcus.
So good.
And now we live in hell.
By the way, I like that the human boy is just the all-purpose boy.
General.
And then like somehow sports is like a fantasy thing
Very
alongside wizards.
Yeah, it's fine.
Accurate.
Sports are fantasy.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, it works. I like it. I really like how it's very noticeable, like, that the developers really had a fantastic time making this game and have a lot of love for it. I am here.
Odin, is this it?
That is the location I mentioned.
You're there? You're gonna need a crowbar or something.
No, it's open. It's just hanging open.
What?
I must inform you that Ventura's regulations forbid contracting crew members direct access to AI hardware. But I cannot prevent you from proceeding.
Matt, I'm going in.
Okay, just be careful.
Please proceed. My name. Ooh. I don't know if this is a good place for me to stop the episode, honestly. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna stop the episode right here. As promised, we're gonna start with this commentary.
I come from this background, art-wise, of illustration. When I first went to school, it wasn't for games. It was for book illustration. And, you know, it's a very traditional... a lot of the tools that you work with, if you're not working with Photoshop, are literally things like paint and scratchboard and very physical media. And eventually, in my career, I decided I really wanted to work in games. So, you know, I moved to digital and 3D tools like Maya and ZBrush, and in this case, more recently, the Substance programs. There's this evolutionary biology idea of the Red Queen's race, where the faster you run, the more you stand still, sort of thing. And with game art, because it's constantly evolving, all the technology's changing all the time, everyone's making new tools, always finding new ways of making things look cool. There's this process of always learning that, I mean, you always have to learn in illustration too, yeah, but kind of once you get a handle on painting, you sort of know what you're in for. But with game art tools, the moment you feel like you've mastered a game art tool is the moment a new one comes out that does something even better. So it's a very exciting world to work in, but at the same time, if you don't like learning things, it's, it can be quite difficult, and sometimes it is frustrating. But, the principles of it are more or less, they sort of stay the same. So, if you're struggling with it at all, it's basically the patience that is the main skill you have to learn for game art. It's not necessarily whether you know Maya or not, it's whether or not you stick with it. But, yeah, game art, it's a lot.
I mean, I don't know if this has anything to do with anything that I'm about to say. I'm pretty sure this didn't even make sense. But I'm hyperactive. I'm waiting on a diagnostic basically to see if I'm autistic or if I have ADHD or if it's both or if it's something entirely else. Something else entirely. Now, what I do know is I'm never happy being still. Like, I always need to keep moving, whether it's my toes, my feet, my ankles, my knees, my hands, or my mouth, because I just don't shut the fuck up. And I'm always eager to learn and do something new, and something new in the sense, like, something new to me. Like, I don't really, I have to be original, I have to be different. No, I just want to do, like, learn a new skill, improve a skill, like, do something new. Like, I taught myself how to video edit, and granted that my videos are very basic, but it was something that I challenged myself to learn, and there are other things that I want to do, that I want to achieve. Like, for example, I want to learn how to play guitar, and I was gonna buy myself a guitar this year, but I can't even afford rent without helping from my dad, so I have to postpone that. But anyways, when she said that, you have to be eager to keep learning, and I'm like, that's not something that I would find problematic. In fact, I would find that amazing. I would totally fit in, I mean, I can't draw for shit, but the idea that a role requires someone to always keep learning, to always keep evolving or adapting, that's exactly something that fits me. Like, I work in IT, and as you know, like, technology is always evolving, like, daily. So the part of learning and adapting constantly doesn't affect me negatively at all. Quite on the contrary.
Network technology is a funny wing for me because I made the gray block of it at least 3 separate times, like starting from scratch, like literally building the wing from scratch 3 separate times.
Why?
In gray block form, which is more than any other wing. And it was also, I think, one of the earliest wings that I worked on. Because it was one of the earliest gray blocks that I was doing, I was adding all sorts of like different purpose rooms to the wing originally, and in the process of like cutting a lot of those rooms and making the space more focused, it just made the most sense to like scrap the whole level and start from scratch. So the core of it would be designed to support a more focused space.
Right. Cutting off a bunch of rooms and just being left with a weird squirrely hallway or core that is no longer necessary can just be kind of like you're left with a strange shape.
Yeah. And also, like, even though I was remaking it, like, the core concept was still there. Like, I kept that circular staircase kind of thing in it from the beginning and never fully trashed that idea. So it was more like iteration to preserve and refine the good elements that I really enjoyed making, and then being able to like reshape that to fit the more concise idea of the space was good.
Okay, unfortunately Tynan's volume wasn't as loud as the other developer, so I mean, I got the gist of it, but I'm worried that people might not be able to understand it fully because his mic just wasn't on the same level as the other developer. Okay.
is this? What is all this? Communication records?
I cannot prevent you from accessing exposed data in this restricted area.
Yes. Yeah, he's recording. It is with great sadness that I address you today, February 29th, 2088. Mere hours ago, 6 loyal men and women, the crew of Lunar Transfer Station Tacoma, lost their lives serving Venturas, and all of us who rely on the orbital economy. Tragically, due to human error on the part of the crew, Venturas rescue technicians were not made aware of the catastrophic oxygen loss until it was too late.
What?
Our heartfelt thoughts and prayers are with their families. If only tragedies like this were avoidable. But in truth, they are. As we know, each minute that human workers spend stationed isolated in orbit is another opportunity for heroes like the crew of Tacoma to lose their lives. We at Venturas say no more. The partisan obstructionism that led to the failure of the Orbital Workers' Safety Bill has claimed its last victim. Today, we hereby renew our solemn pledge to fight for the legalization of fully automated orbital facilities. We encourage, we humbly beg everyone listening to this message to contact their OSEP representative and voice their support in honor of the crew of Tacoma. There never need be another tragedy like this one. And now, a moment of silence in their memory. Okay, and then we just cut it there, silent for a minute, and then what? Amazing Grace? No, I don't need another take. That was fine.
So, this tragedy, well, hold on. This accident was no accident at all, was provoked, caused, whatever, by, what's his name? Sergio himself. How do I say? What's it called? Like, it's just part of his plan to get people to agree with whatever he wants to do in terms of, like, automated space stations. What a piece of shit. I hope we can stop him somehow. AI shawl. Well, there's not an angel lives at Tacoma crew. Now, arrested craft will be dispatched to retrieve them once they are in cryo. Proceed with the above directives without exception. Being repealed. Thank you, Juno. Ideal. Renewing all. Shit. Holy shit. Scheduled. 1 hour. Launching scheduled. Rescue craft departure been intentionally cancelled? Yes. Expired for my oxygen. Not reopen comms. Bear with me a moment. My dad is calling me. Alright, guys. Sorry about that. My dad called, and there's no way I would refuse a phone call from my dad. Let's see. Everything's okay, though. Let's see. Okay, so is this noise? Okay, it's nice from the game. I almost thought I was, I don't know, something dangerous outside. So, here we go. The rescue craft departure has been intentionally cancelled. Yes. Without rescue craft, the crew will expire from lack of oxygen or cryosleep overexposure within 12 hours. Fortunate circumstance outside your concern makes this unavoidable. AI may not reopen.
When Steve asked me to voice Sergio, he didn't exactly say that Sergio was the villain of the story. But I could tell by the way he described Sergio, sort of smooth, confident, the public face of a big corporation, that he probably wasn't going to be the hero. So when I got the script, I learned that Sergio speaks in monologues rather than dialogue with other characters. That got me thinking about how video games present characters through PA systems or audio logs. So I was thinking about games like System Shock 2 and of course BioShock and Andrew Ryan. So I began to think about how to convey Sergio's villainy in a sort of video gamey way, which is to say, not how I normally teach actors to work, which means the kind of acting you typically find in video games. It sort of insists that the actor wear that one defining thing about a character on his sleeve. So villains sound properly villainous. So when it came time to record, I asked Steve and Carla what they were looking for, and Steve just said, "Be yourself." And I was like, And Steve said, "No, we really want you to just be your kind of genial, soothing self. Don't play the villainy, just play it straight," which I translated to mean find the truth, which is what actors do. There are a lot of things to admire about Tacoma, but for me it's the naturalness of the performances that really delivers the characters and roots them in a believable reality. It's the way that we don't tell you what you're supposed to think or feel about these characters, and the way we don't distill our roles into easily recognizable types. As actors, we make choices that trust the player to construct meaning on her own rather than pulling from a bag of tricks that every actor owns. I think when you trust your actors like that, you're really communicating a sense of trust in your players as well.
Odin's wetware is this little drawer that, with the gold handle that Amy pulls out of this pillar and takes back to her ship. And the player doesn't really get a long look at Odin during the little animation that plays. So I am including a little snapshot render of the model itself. When we first started talking about Odin's design, like not Odin the room, but Odin the actual, this little individual piece of wetware, Carla had mentioned the shapes and forms of a Romanesco cauliflower. And in my first version of the model, I'd actually taken up an alpha or black and white height map, essentially, of a Romanesco cauliflower and sort of pressed it into the actual model to get the shapes. But it was a bit noisy and it didn't really read as intended. It made some cool patterns, but it was also a little cluttered visually. So we did a second pass on the model, and we made him look more brain-like, more wetware-like, more organic.
That's exactly what he reminds me of.
2.2, it felt more like a living piece of technology than the previous rendition had. And I remember spending a lot of time painting out the little veins and things in there. And I really like how gross it looks. This is another part of it. I tried to make it as glossy and weird as I could. So that's Odin. He's actually, he's a handsome voice in a gross little box.
I wish, because the version is like the second version of the, I guess, like the design, I really wish I could see like the first one they came up with and, just to compare and see the evolution.
If someone were to override that protocol, external communications channels would be restored.
Odin, thank you.
Can we save them?
Hailing any ship within radio range of Lunar Transfer Station Tacoma. This is an SOS. Is anybody out there?
ZF 0451. Service relay. What I would like to know, like, I understand that I'm not here to save anybody, but I would really like to. For a moment, I thought, the game froze and was crashing.
He's still waking up. Just keep him talking.
So the drone.
2 hours. Fuck. Failed. Yeah, I'm seeing stories going on public AR already. Here's everything you sent that I got out to my free press connections. Sergio, traffic death of crew. Hell yeah, thank you, Age. There's no way Ventures is coming after you with all this info out there, but still need some place to lay low for a bit. You come to 10 gears. Can't, alright, it's headed the other way, but I'll see you once I'm back from Jupiter. Promise. Captured 10 hours ago. Sarah's got me on the gurney, on the way to the transfer. God, it's going to feel good to be out of gravity. It's going to feel good to be off this fucking station. It's going to feel good not to be dead. I love you. Love you too, baby. Here I go. See you in Hub.
Worked?
No, the drone didn't work.
Oh, so VT is picking us up.
No, VT is definitely not picking us up.
What's going on then?
We're going to Jupiter, Andrew. Isn't that exciting?
I've never been.
Nat, give him a break.
We're not going to be home for a while. Right? You're not going to miss your kid's graduation or anything, are you?
Oh, Nicholas, no. Yeah, Nicholas, well, he would never do something like that.
She said they'd be kind of out of it for a while.
Rescue vessel rocking in.
Andrew, what's important is we're getting out of this alive. Andrew, what's important is we're getting out of this alive. We're gonna be somewhere where VT can't touch us for a good, long while. We're gonna be safe.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Yeah. It's good. Hi, Evie, Clive. You feeling okay?
I'm feeling okay.
We're feeling okay?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Our ride is here. This is it. Take one last look and say goodbye. All right. Let's go.
They made it, right? Wait a second.
Let's go.
That's Odin. But I have hope. Oh, they had to leave him alive.
Do you feel it? Do you feel it when we get done?
So, the cryopods here in Hub are meant to freeze the crew in case of emergency. And these pods can be seen through the cryo room window in Hub from the very beginning of the game. Do not ruin the story or the mystery of whether the crew are in the pods or not. I tried to make a script that would effectively make it so the glass on the cryopods is opaque and then slowly becomes transparent as you move in. However, when I was making this script, there was a fun event. The test color I used, it was a blood red. It did look like the cryopods were all filled with blood.
Oh my god.
Which then kind of dissipated into a mist as you approached. This is the kind of thing you want to show your fellow teammates. Before I did that, I decided to get the skeleton model that is in medical and put one in every one of the cryopods, and then call people over and have them give it a shot. It's the kind of thing you really want to do when you're showing off a new feature.
Groggy.
I think I'm still waking up.
How many fingers is this?
Okay, lovebirds. Vitals look good. Let's get you moving. Resplendent's dinghy is just about docked.
Oh, do we have to?
Oh, we have to. Believe me. So what's going to happen with Odin? You said there was some sort of malfunction. No, not exactly. But my guess, they'll have somebody up here and all.
Germ, old boy, you're famous now. Boy, oh boy, can't wait to see ya. Station Tacoma are currently being rescued from certain death by the flagship vessel of their main competitor, the Resplendence, Carnival state-of-the-art long-excursion passenger liner. Passenger liner? I don't know. It's currently slingshotting past Earth and around the sun, continuing its figure 8 course back out past Jupiter. While cruising towards their space, the Resplendence received an SOS. Only moments to act. Resplendence Captain Jermaine Burgess gallantly deployed an emergency shuttle to retrieve the rival corporation's crew. The rescue operation is still underway, but already Venturas caused by crew members' illegal access to the station AI, resulting the AI units currently being retrieved by their experts and returned to Ventura Station quarters for their inspection.
Excuse me.
Wipe them back to baseline.
Excuse me.
Oh, it's you. Nat, Bert, comms are up. Check your HR. Check your AR. I'm going to wake everybody else up from cryo, then I'm coming back to Mac to get you. Everybody else, you're reading this, you woke up. Thank God. Rescue vessel on its way. We'll have something. Just thankful we're all alive. Let's get the hell out while the getting's good. Sarah.
Probably have to replace the station AI entirely while he regrows. Odin, I'm not gonna let that happen. Okay? Don't worry.
Son, What? Who's this? Sorry, I'm Sarah from Tacoma Station. Nat gave me your info. Sorry, but it's urgent. I was hoping I could ask you for a favor. Dear Mom and Dad, I know you've probably already seen Tacoma in the news, and who it seems they're... What? And who it seems they've decided to point the finger at again. And I'm sure you're worried about me, but getting off the station now. No matter what you read or hear, the crew survived this because we all pulled together to find a way out. This was no malfunction. This was a deliberate act. I know 8 months sounds like a long time, but just remember I love you. Speak to you when I can. Wait.
I remember when, because I made a bunch of signs to point us in the direction of the Tacoma Dome. And
never mind. I already heard that.
Here we are in the hub.
Yeah.
It's big.
It is very big. Actually, that was one of my concerns when we sort of first started making the hub, was that, like, you know, you just sort of get thrown into this giant space.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on. There's little guys flying around.
It's one of the only spaces in the entire game that feels very spaceship to me.
Yeah.
You go from here to a space that feels a lot more terrestrial, that feels a lot more grounded, and it's easy to get around, and you tend not to lose your bearings. And we help the player move through the space with, you know, landmarking and lighting and stuff. And then you come back to here after that, and you're like, oh, I'm in space. Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah. Here I am in space again, and it's disorienting and it's weird. And it's kind of unsettling. I think that kind of works about it because you're not playing the game in here, and the game isn't really about getting from A to B. So it's really kind of
playing basketball.
It's playing basketball, and it's also kind of, I always felt like this part was just kind of an intermission in the game. You like come here to kind of take a breath after, you know, a long bit of story, and it's a fairly empty, quiet float, which I really liked.
Hey, Evie, Clive, you feeling okay?
What happened to the cat?
A lot of people ask about the use of sign language in...
Never mind. I already read that. Attention subcontractor. I am now overseeing entity of this operation. You report to me. Contractor shall return all Ventura's AI components to specified delivery location immediately. Contractor shall purge all confidential data encountered while on Ventura's property. I trust there is no need to remind you of the severe consequences for deviating from the above. Be seeing you soon, Juno. So you're the other AI. So if I recall, Juno is the AI that told Sergio, of how his plan would succeed if he, well, acted the way, or like if he ordered Odin to, well, cause this disaster and killing the Tacoma crew. So I believe that...
Minnie, I'm back.
Okay. Okay. AI wetware.
Ship is ready to depart. Please strap into the pilot seat.
Okay, Minnie. Initiate the launch sequence.
Okay. Getting ready. Hosted AI online.
Odin, can you hear me?
I can.
Odin, you are now aboard an AI Liberation Front vessel. The AILF recognizes you as a sentient consciousness worthy of protection and respect. We believe that your safety and autonomy are in grave danger if you remain in the possession of the Venturis Corporation. I have been sent to offer you political asylum aboard the Tangier Sovereign Orbital Platform. Do you accept?
Considering the alternative, I would say that I do.
Okay, buddy. Here we go.
I loved it. Alright guys, so for a review. Visuals, I love them. Voice acting, really good. Soundtrack, really good. Developer commentary, really good for the most part. I like the humor. I like how passionate they talk about, you know, the games that each developer participated in, or about each game that was taken as a source of inspiration. The story is fantastic. The way that it slowly develops is fantastic. The twist really reminded me of Ted Faro from the Horizon franchise. It's a very simple game. There's a lot of detail. There's a lot of things that you don't necessarily need to find, or not to find, like interact with in order to progress the story. I think it's very straightforward. But the world building is really strong here. I'm very happy that there was an happy ending for the characters. I wasn't sure that would be possible. And I really like how our character is here to help Odin. Like at first, not at first, but like at some point, near the end, when you get like, okay, it's Juno who's giving me orders, or is giving orders to Amy. This is bad. This is bad because we're acting on behalf of the bad guys. But ultimately, we are a third party, like a political third party. And I really, really enjoyed that twist there. I really, really, really liked this game. I hope it was enjoyable to watch. Thank you so much for watching. Oh my goodness, I can't stop yawning. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.